This 1996 BMW Z3 was supposed to be my weekend project car. This thing took me on a journey I did not see coming. I thought I was getting a fun little 90s Roadster to play with on the weekends, something simple, something fun, and instead I ended up with a car that needed way more attention than I ever expected. The funny thing is, I wasn't even shopping for a Z3. We were at a shop getting work done on one of our other vehicles, and the owner mentioned they had this BMW sitting in the back. Someone had abandoned it years ago. They couldn't pay for the repairs and never came back. A mechanic had already rebuilt a lot under the hood, but they still couldn't finish the project. Eventually, the shop went through the lien sale process. It became legally theirs, and they were ready to get rid of it. So when I walked back there, I just fell in love with the idea of it. A BMW convertible, affordable, and when I saw it was in 1996, the year I was born, it felt like fate. That long hood, those rounded curves, that timeless 90s design. I'd always loved convertibles, but the car itself was rough. The back window was missing, windows barely rolled down, so by no means was it a nice one, but I didn't care. I was already imagining myself driving it, learning stick shift in it, wrenching on it. So when they said $2,500, I didn't hesitate. After I bought it, I started learning about what I'd actually gotten myself into. The Z3 has a pretty interesting backstory. In '96, this car was BMW's big gamble, their first ever production car built in America, right in Spartanburg, South Carolina. They wanted an affordable BMW sports car that more people could get into. Then it had that huge James Bond spotlight in GoldenEye, which basically caused demand to explode overnight. BMW couldn't build them fast enough. Mine has the 1.9 liter four-cylinder with about 140 horsepower. I wasn't expecting muscle car power, I just wanted a fun experience. And honestly, part of what makes the Z3 accessible today is that when it came out, it didn't get the same respect as cars like the Miata or the Boxster. People thought it was underpowered and borrowed too many parts from the 3 Series, and that underappreciation is a blessing in disguise. The thing is, everything that once made the Z3 less desirable has become the exact reason someone might want to pick one up today. It's affordable, it's approachable, the parts bin engineering makes it easy to work on. Driving one today feels like stepping back into a simpler era when it was all about the driving experience. No driver modes, just a little Roadster that gives you honest feedback and a lot of personality. So what did my Z3 actually need? When I first test drove the car, everything seemed fine. The engine sounded healthy, it shifted smoothly, and I was excited to take it home. But once it was in my garage, the reality hit. Power steering leaks are notorious on Z3s. I haven't dealt with that one yet, but mine definitely leaks oil. And then there are the interior door handles. They love to fall apart. The paint was peeling in several places, the soft top was in rough shape and needed a full replacement. The window motors barely worked, the tires were worn out, and the wheels were a little too 90s for me. And plastic panels throughout the interior were cracked and brittle. It was a classic 90s BMW Survivor, and it was going to take some serious work to get it into shape. So I rolled up my sleeves. The first big step was the top. A full replacement that immediately made this car look and feel better. I replaced the old tires and wheels, put in seat covers to cover up the factory leather that was falling apart, and installed new bushings to prevent the seats from rocking. I also upgraded the electronics, a new head unit, a backup camera, and even a new steering wheel. The exhaust got some love too with a new muffler, and I attempted to replace the cracked plastic compartment in the back, only for it to break the very first time I opened it. Apparently 90s plastic just doesn't hold up. The work so far has been somewhat rewarding. The car is drivable, but it still needs some serious work. When I tally up the cost, it's a little shocking. I bought the car for $2,500, spent around $2,500 on parts, and still have tools and additional expenses in the mix. That puts my running total at around $5,000. So after hearing everything that we've already done, all the work I put into it, and the fact that it's not really my kind of driving vibe, why are we making a video about this? We're making a video about this because this is just the beginning. In the next video, I'm diving into a full suspension refresh on the Z3 to give it that solid foundation it needs for the rest of the build. And we'll see whether this project is gonna be turning this car into my dream car or into something I maybe sell to somebody who it is their dream car. If you want to follow along and see what happens, hit subscribe because this story isn't over yet.